Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Caregiver Coffee Chat podcast. It's your mom mentor and caregiver coach, Melissa. And today I have an amazing guest on the podcast with me today. Her name is Miriam Safla. Miriam is a busy mom and a wife and a mompreneur. And I'm really excited about having her on the podcast today because she's going to be talking with us about a very important topic about how it is so important that we do prioritize ourselves in our roles as wives, that we're not submissive and that we're not just having our identity be solely in that role and that we have to people please or that we have to constantly be putting them first, our spouse or our children. We are allowed to put ourselves first because we are a unique person with our own dreams, our own ambitions, our own needs, and we do need to give ourselves breaks and times to nurture ourselves. So, Miriam, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm so looking forward and excited to share and give your audience a lot of value today as well.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. So, could you tell us a little bit more about your story, your journey, and what really inspired you to get into this topic that you are talking about with us today?
Okay, firstly, I just wanted to speak more about the topic, just give a little more brief on what you just said. So basically, they are like about 4 people. So you can have one who is a wife, and she's caught into this role of being such that she has to take care of her husband, she has to do everything for him. She's got no life. It's only to see to his needs and his cooking and the house. So what happens is she doesn't get a chance to live her dreams, her passions in life, her desires. And that is what creates that depression, that anxiety, that soul is longing to do things. And here you are fulfilling a role, which is part of your job, but you've got to strike a balance and also be doing your purpose as well. So that is one person that I wanted to talk. That is the caregiver role that I'm speaking about. The second caregiver role that I want to speak about, which can be related to, is an overprotective mother. So in a sense that everything is I've got to do for my children's safety, my children's needs, and she overgives, overcares for her kids. And in that state now, she's doing so much for the kids, she cannot fulfill her creative passions and pursuits and fulfill her dreams. So she's caught in that role. The third person that I wanted to speak about is, which will be related on my story, right? And it is about this person who is always taking care of his friends and his family, their needs. This is the people pleaser role now, right? So it's the friends and the family, and they want to some things of whatever they need. Let's go take care of them, whatever they want. That he gives all his time or her time to his friends and families, and he does not use that time, that energy, that resources that he has, gives all his money to his friends and family, and he doesn't use that resource to build a successful life for himself and for his family. Okay, and there's one more. One more is a protective daughter, where she, at a very young age, she could have seen her father, they didn't treat her mother well. And she vowed that I will take care of my mom. It could be a guy as well. This could relate to both, not only one. I will take care of my mom. And then what happens is you're caught in this caregiver role. I cannot get married. I cannot do anything in life because I have to care for my mom. So even the spouse, it could be in any way. It could be in any way related. These are the ways it showed up for me with clients and for myself as well. And what happens is you give all your time and then you don't fulfill your happy ever after life. You don't get married. You don't do the things that you want to do in life that makes you happy. So these are the roles that I'm speaking about. So now when you were speaking about sharing a story, the one that showed up the most for me and the one that was the most challenging for me was from a very, very young age, I was always very, very angry with my dad. Very angry with him. Why do you have to always do for your family? Why do you always run towards them for everything? If they come to you, you always there for them. What about friends? You will leave your business and you will go and see to their needs. You will take them everywhere. You will give everything to them. So I had a lot of anger issues regarding my dad, right? And it so happened that whatever you're angry about, like say, for example, if you're angry about something and then you make a decision, I will not be like that. I will be different. And then what happens, Melissa, is this is the core of the transformational coaching and healing work that I do. This is the part when you make a decision from a negative state. I will not be like my dad. I will not be like my mom. I will not be like this person. And what the universe does now, he puts, because you made it from a negative standing point, the universe puts that same challenge in your life. You take on that same role.
Mhm.
So it could
Absolutely.
be a generational wound that the universe wants you to heal. So basically the wound, it's like a pattern that's going on in your family that now you've got to break it. That's another way I see it as well. So when the universe gives you this pattern, he's giving you a chance to break a pattern in the family so it does not repeat its cycle.
Absolutely. I love, you said a mouthful right there. So let's break it down a little bit. So I really loved how you touched on the four different caretaker roles, because that is true. We might have trauma related to a bad experience with how our parents raised us, or how they treated us, or how we saw them treat one parent to another, maybe in the form of abuse or neglect. Maybe being a workaholic and just being, because they have undealt with pain or trauma, and their only way to deal with it is to just be constantly busy, and they just don't want to feel emotions, or they feel scared that, oh, I had this past experience, I'm afraid to feel because I might do the same harmful things to my own family. That's very valid. Or it might be a situation like you said, where as moms or wives, we just get so tunnel visioned in that role that we let that become just that we just let it overtake, excuse me, our whole essence of who we are, that we don't realize that we're allowed to take a break and we're allowed to pursue our own dreams and goals and ambitions. Because that's the thing, it's like, I think there's a misconception there that you touched on that I think is so true, is that when we get married, when we have children, we automatically think that's the two primary roles in our jobs, being a good wife, being a good mother. And while they are important, we do want to nurture those roles in a healthy way. I think it's important to realize, guys, that the best way to nurture those roles is to stay true to your identity of who you are as a unique human being. We're born with different talents and gifts and abilities that God in the universe gives us. And if we're not nurturing those, we're missing out. We have this one life, and I think it's so important that, while I believe that marriage and motherhood is a gift and a journey that we receive, it is also important that we still nurture the unique gifts and talents that God has given us as well. And it can be so self-sabotaging when we're trying to cope with the said roles of motherhood, of being in a marriage, nurturing a healthy marriage, if we're not taking time for ourselves to nurture those gifts and those talents that we have. And it can look a lot, and it can be, and like you said, I think getting back to kind of what we're talking about too, it's like, where does all this stem from? Is it from our own securities related to trauma that we've maybe experienced, or like you said, a generational pattern of trauma, which is really a big problem sometimes as well, because we pretty much go off of our own experiences, be it good or bad, whether we have a healthy, stable home, we want to imitate that, or we have a non-healthy home or upbringing, we imitate that. And sometimes the problem is like we don't know how to shift one way or another. We want to be perfect, we saw with our families. If we did say have a stable home, a good upbringing, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but sometimes we can push it to the extreme on that side. But then at the same time, we can swing the pendulum back the other direction, where we've dealt with trauma, abuse, or neglect, or any number of other unhealthy situations, and we try to swing the pendulum back the other way of like, oh, I cannot let this happen. And so we bottle up our emotions, we don't take time to do the inner work, like what you were talking about dealing with that
Yeah.
undealt with trauma. So we don't end up traumatizing and harming our own marriages or our own, and bringing that into the upbringing of our own children. So there's so many layers here, guys, that I think is just not talked about when it comes to dealing with our identities, because there's so much more to it. It really ties into our life experiences, right? Be it good or bad, right, Miriam? Either be it good or bad.
Exactly. So as I was saying now, like say, for example, that was my dad's story. And I made that I could have subconsciously said, I don't want to be like that. And then you see regarding my dad, it was regarding business, it was regarding money. And when I opened my coaching business and my healing practice, then I made an intention to be successful. I wanted this coaching business to take on, and I invested big money, and I wanted to be successful in it. And that's when I started. Maybe I always had the pattern, but I became aware of it now, because now I noticed my pattern of my dad, where I would always run to family, do for them, phone them, give them advice, do this, do that. People will phone me, I won't charge for my services, I will give it for free. I would do hours of talking and coaching with them. So that's when that pattern kicked in. Or it could have kicked in before, but that's when I really became aware, and where I said, this is something I don't want anymore.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's important to pay attention to, is our habits too. Like what we don't think is maybe unhealthy, it might be an unhealthy habit. So really stopping and pausing and going, is what I'm doing really serving me and moving the needle forward? Or am I basically just self-sabotaging? As cliche as it sounds, what we think or what even we say out loud to ourselves, it can be harmful, guys. It can really be harmful. And it is important. And I'm not saying that we don't need to express our emotions. Like, we're human beings and human bodies. So we are born with the emotion of frustration, fear, anger, resentment. I mean, there's a number of things that we do feel on a daily basis, especially as moms and caregivers. Our husbands drive us crazy. Our kids want to drive us up the wall. We're frustrated when we're trying to get the tech to work for our businesses. There's a number of things that can drive us crazy and up the wall. But there needs to be a fine line and a balance, I think, when you're dealing with it. I'm not saying that there's that fine line of, I need to let myself feel angry or frustrated in the moment, but I can't stay there. I need to move beyond that. It's not, that's where you get into trouble, when you stay stuck in one place for too long, because then you don't move the leap forward. Like you said, like if you had stayed stuck in your formal pattern of just running to always people pleasing and doing anything, but instead my brain's getting ahead of my mouth, guys, sorry, and not stopping and pausing and realizing, I want to work like my dad did, but I don't want it to be from the unhealthy aspect of where I'm not being successful, and I'm not having a healthy balance between how I serve my clients versus how I also caretake for my family, to where it's not an obsession, but it's a passion. So there's a difference, guys, between obsession and passion. So finding that healthy balance is really what we're going for here. And it's going to look different for everybody.
Exactly. And I loved how you spoke about the emotion part, and I would like to go deeper on that. But before I go deeper on that, I just want to say, so that was when I became aware. And when I became aware of my dad's pattern and how it's now playing on my life, and it had to be with me now becoming a successful coach. So one of the patterns that we're showing up is fear of success as well. So that could have created my dad's pattern, not giving himself permission to be successful and happy. One of the
Yes.
reasons we do one of the reasons, as you spoke so much about the emotion part, one of the reasons we do that, Melissa, is because at an early age, we could have had some challenge, some traumatic experience that made us close our heart. I will not feel anymore. I will not allow anyone to touch my heart. We closed our heart. So this is one of the biggest turning points I've seen in my own life and in my life of my clients, is when we learn to get in touch with that memory that created them to close their heart. Some time of grief as well. They are holding in and is not giving them that ability to process that grief of theirs, and they've closed their feelings off and they've locked it up. So it even showed up in clients where they zipped it up. They actually saw themselves zipping up their feelings. And this is the main part about it. When you zip up your feelings and you close yourself to your feelings, you don't have you are not in touch with what your needs are, what your desires are. And this then creates the people pleasing, because now you're not in touch. I don't need anything. I don't desire anything. I don't desire money. I don't desire success. I don't desire anything. So let me make others successful. Let me help them. Let me give to them. That's the people pleasing as well, can show up as they. It's also a need to be liked as well.
Absolutely.
The need to be liked is there as well, but that's what I'm speaking about, the emotional. So once you get in touch and you unzip it, that's when I found it. You unzip this heart, you become vulnerable. And you give your ability to feel, and then you see, hey, yes, I need that. I desire that. And that's when your turning point comes, when you realize, I need that. I desire that. And that's when you make your self-care and your self-love a priority. Many people struggle with this. I struggled with self-care and self-love for years. And they make it, and you'll have it thrown at you. Take care of yourself, make self-love your priority, make self-care. But you've got to realize this person cannot until she has healed some traumatic experience that made her lose in touch of her needs and desires. And that's when you open up. What you can do now is you can say yes to me. And that's when I saw my clients and myself earlier on, before them, I saw them myself. That's when we started saying yes to us, taking our daily walks and going for our massages and so forth, making that self-care a priority.
And I think that's what it really boils down to, is emotions and also self-care. Okay. We can't, I know that self-care is such a buzzword on the internet, guys, and I know it drives everyone up the wall. It drives me up the wall. But what happens if we don't release our emotions and heal whatever trauma that we're dealing with, grief, anger, resentment, whatever that the case may be? And what happens if we don't take care of ourselves? We burn out. And it can manifest in a mental breakdown. It can manifest in undealt with anger. It can manifest in actual physical diagnoses. I tapped out and burned out really hard in 2020 to 2021, guys. I was sick for a whole year with undiagnosed IBS, and that was not fun. When I was also trying to be a stay-at-home mom to my little girl, as well as caregiver for my epileptic husband. And I was also, and I'm, like I've said over the last 3 years, guys, I'm still building my coaching practice as well. Hello, that's a lot. So you have to make sure that you are a priority in one way, shape, or form or the other. And self-care is part of it. And creative self-care, I think, I love and where we're talking about ambitions and goals, creative self-care is important. Whether you decide to be a mompreneur, like what Miriam and I are desiring to do, it's still important to be nurturing that creative outlet. So sign up for that pottery class, take that art class, spend 15 minutes journaling, write, knit or crochet. I personally love to knit 15 minutes. I try to do 15 minutes of knitting in the evening when I get a chance. Read a fiction book. What is your creative outlet, and how can you make that a priority every single day of the year? Because that's what you need. And then also with those emotions, you really have to find a way to how to deal with it. And that comes into a different element too. What is your way to deal with those emotions. Again, like Miriam said, bottling them up, zipping them up, it doesn't work. You think it's going to go away if you just hold on to them too tightly. It will come out in a very bad way later on. Okay, it will come back. It's not going to go away. So that's where the resource of journaling, prayer, meditation, even leveraging a counselor or a therapist, or even you're a spiritual leader. I personally am a Christian, so I definitely leverage my mom support group and my pastors. Whatever faith that you practice, leverage that. That's important. Mind, soul, and body, they all go together. And having multiple creative outlets to nurture a said mind, body, and soul is really what is going to help you stay out of that people pleasing, out of the burnout, and allow you to move forward in your success. Whether you're a mompreneur like what Miriam and I are, or whether even you're just trying to be a more rounded, healthy, balanced mom and wife. So that's a big achievement in of itself. And doing so in a way, again, where if you have experienced if you personally have also dealt with trauma in one way, shape, or form, that you leave that trauma behind and you move forward in a very healthy way. That's what we want. We don't want you being stuck in trauma and just continuing that unhealthy cycle, because if you do, it's going to be harmful to you. It's going to be harmful to your marriage. And what else is it going to be harmful to your children? Okay.
Yes.
So it's very important that you really think about this stuff, guys. I know we don't, when we're thinking about self-care, when we're thinking about self-love, I know we don't obviously think about trauma, but it's there. And that's why I wanted to have Miriam come on today, because she's a good expert in this and she can help you.
Yeah.
I coach and mentor. I want to give you resources to how you can manage this better in a healthy way. And sometimes it is, like I said, talking to somebody that has been through what you have been through and has the guidance and resources and some tips and hacks to help you do that. So that's why Miriam's here. So I'm very glad that Miriam's here, because it is something that we do need to discuss more.
So let me take an example now, right? So like, say, for example, you have the wife and she has to do for her husband, and she also has this need where she's staying with in-laws. And as she's staying with in-laws, she's constantly doing for them, making them happy, getting the yes from them, not worrying about herself. Everything is about being liked. She wants to be liked by them. So she consistently only does for them. She's not living her life. Then she has a daughter. The daughter sees this now. This is the trauma I am speaking about. The daughter sees this and she can see she's growing up. She's a young 6 years, 7 years, and she can see her mom is just making others happy. And in the evenings, she has got no time for her husband properly because she has made so much of time for others. And then there is relationship problems, and this child is seeing that what her mother is just people pleasing. So the child makes the decision and the vow, and she says, I will not be like my mom. Right? So the child first has got a lot of grief. She's seeing the unhappiness of her mother and how she's doing for others and not giving herself happiness, not giving her a chance to be happy, but making others happy. And then what this child does is she now decides that she won't be like her mother. And as I said, this is where it goes. You've got to first heal the grief. When you're talking about the trauma, as a trauma transformational coach, and I call myself a shadow transformational coach, I will tell you now, is now first she has to go to that 6-year-old memory where she uncovered that memory of her mother doing this and angry at her mother, angry at her father, and she has to do forgiveness work. Heal her grief. Forgiveness is the main thing. You've got to forgive. When you forgive, you open your heart. Every time you truly forgive, you open your heart more and more and more to the love and the light that is there already.
And sometimes it's not forgiving. Yeah. And sometimes it's not necessarily forgiving someone else, it's forgiving yourself.
Yes.
And I think that can be even harder. when you
Yes.
have to when you have to face your own demons, and you have to forgive your own self for
Exactly.
mistakes you've made,
So
or
here
just
in
not
this case,
living. Yeah.
like in this case now, she's got first the forgiving of the mom and father to do. That is the first part. The
Yes.
second part of it is the vow that she made. She's got to recognize that what she did, because as I said, any decision that you make from a negative impact state, it's going to come back. The universe is going to give you that role. Now, this person, the age of 18, she's out of school now. All of a sudden, instead of going and fulfilling her dreams, going to college, she goes, she sees her mom, she decides, oh no, I'll go in the kitchen, and she takes on the caretaker, caregiver role. She starts taking care of all the family members. She starts doing for them, and she neglects herself. That role starts. That's why I'm saying it becomes a generational pattern. And she's unhappy. She's unfulfilled in life. And only when she goes to a coach, a healer of us. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. It's got
No,
to do
it's
with our
okay.
prayer.
It's
So
okay.
it's only when I cannot, it's from the mosque, and
Oh,
I can't.
you're fine. It's not your fault.
Okay, so now when she sees this, now she sees her mom, now she takes on that role, right? So now that role, now she has to come to a coach or a healer, whoever it is that is supporting her, and she needs to go and change that. That's what you call a shadow. So a shadow is created when you make a decision from a negative emotional state, and you create a shadow, and you start living from your shadow. And when you start living from your shadow, you're not living true to you.
Absolutely.
So that's the work I do, is first the forgiving, then the shadow work. We bring the shadow, we integrate the shadow, meaning we teach the shadow how to now start taking a healthier role. The shadow cannot take a healthier role until you have forgiven and also forgiven yourself, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of my tools that I would like to share with your audience is the Ho'oponopono. It is an amazing forgiveness tool. So there's 4 phrases about it. It's an Hawaiian prayer, and it's about a Hawaiian doctor, a psychiatrist doctor, and how he healed a whole psychiatric ward where the patients were so bad that no nurses used to want to work in that hospital. And he was offered a job in this hospital. And what he used to do is, he used to never one day visited the patient. All he did was he took their files and he read their stuff, and then he would ask, how I attracted this patient in my life, how do I have the stuff in me? And he would do this 4 phrases after that, and it is, I am sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. And you just say that to yourself. You keep saying those 4 words. It is powerful prayer, powerful. All you do is say, I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and I thank you. And that's one of my tools that I work with my clients, and I use it for them. And we do the Ho'oponopono in the session, working together until we can see the shadow surrendering, saying, yes, I'm ready to let go. The shadow is not going to let go. It's your ego mind. It's that mind to protect you, to keep you safe. You see what happened. You're going to take the pleasing road. It's there to, So
yeah,
that
so you don't
is
feel, so you don't move the needle forward, right? It just instantly clicks in to keep you safe, or what it thinks is safe. And whereas if us being ambitious women, spiritual women, I will say, since we both practice faith, you practice you're in your mosque, you practice your faith, you go to your faith and you practice. And you're being a Muslim, and I'm a Christian, and I go to church and my devotionals, and I practice my faith, to bring to that center. So you really, but both are the two same and parallel in terms of, forgiveness is crucial first to realize, so you can begin the healing process, finding what caused the healing, of where you need to heal, the root of where you need to heal. And then
finding where the disconnection happened to your true self. Because you
Exactly.
see now the disconnection, now that's when we start connecting. And in every shadow that you integrate, we don't have one shadow. We have a lot of decisions we made from childhood that have created so many masks and shadows that we are wearing. And we have released them. And then the more you get in touch with your true self, and that's when you start living from your truth. So many people you'll see, they live on your truth. My program is living on truth and purpose. And this is what I'm speaking about. It's living from your truth. First, uncovering what you need, what is true for you, what your heart wants, what your needs are, what your desires, finding out how you disconnected from you, how you're living as a shadow, as a false self, as an inauthentic being, and connect to your authenticity, who you are on your. And from there, then the next level is now aligning you to your higher purpose. Where that instance now, my healing work goes even one deeper level. So for example, I wanted to use this example of a caretaker, right? So one of the things that I do when you come to me is I'm also a soul reader. So I can access your Akashic records and I can access your soul patterns. So one of the things is that many people think that you have things that are just here, it's this earthly. No, you're also a soul. And you're coming from a soul plane. Now, on your soul planes, you have made pacts, you have got contracts, and those contracts are coming onto this earth life. So like say, for example, what's showing up for me, I'm always working on myself. I did a journey process for myself this weekend where you go into and to access the journey process is one of my processes that I do with my clients. It's a journey that takes you into your cells, into your body, and we go and uncover a memory. So you look at your cells as your body holding, even when you see movies of people dying, that all those images start coming up in the movie, all the past images. Exactly, these are memories we are holding in ourselves. So good memories and bad memories. And the bad memories are what are creating our dysfunction life, because the bad memories are activating, it triggers our fears, it triggers our limiting beliefs. So now you go into, so I had made intention that I want to show up. It's my thing is to show up. I'm so grateful you reached out to me and this podcast interview. This is me. What I'm doing is showing up, being able to promote myself via voice, letting people know. But I've got a fear. I can do it at home, but I've got this fear of going out of the house and doing it. So at the moment, I'm living in the city. And my intention is to go out and do live, give my knowledge to my community, share it live, I really am. But then there's this little girl that doesn't want to go out. So I did the journey process with the intention. I had someone process me, and with the intention that I want to know what's holding me back. I see myself at the door.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go out. And in the memory, I uncovered a 2-month-old baby, a 2 to 3 month old baby. And this 3-month-old baby is sitting in my uncle's hands. And I'm feeling very, very scared. My uncles, my dad, very broad-shouldered men. I'm feeling very, very scared. I had an amazing facilitator, and she instantly pulled me back from 3 months old. Which back I'm going to go? I went into a soul memory. And that soul memory was, I was intimidated by strong men.
That makes sense.
I pulled that memory and I had this fear, and I'm still living with this fear. I refuse to go out of the house. Every work I've done thus far was always at home. I had a school, I ran it from home. I had an Islamic institution, I ran it from home. I sell things, I sell from home. I never go out to sell. There's that fear holding me back. And ever since I'm living in the city, I say, I can't sit at home anymore. There's such a big city out there waiting for me. So can you see? And it was like, that's what I was just called to share that. But that's what I'm trying to say. When it came to a caregiver, a client, she had this role where she was also stuck in caring for her mom and so forth. And when I did hers was a vow that she made to be a caregiver at all, and she will not see to her needs. And the memory that came up that she had was of an Egyptian princess serving them. And it so happened that she was a great servant, caretaker, caregiver to them, seeing to their needs, and so forth. But then when she decided to leave, something terrible happened to her. So she came back and then she vowed, I will never leave this job. I will be a caregiver all my life. I will never get married. I will never do what. And that energy is pulled into her now. And her life was that. When she came to me, that was her life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
She gave her care all her life, and she never lived her happy ever after life. She never fulfilled her dreams, her passions.
Right.
And so when you say now, when as I was telling you, as I bring in those soul memories, and when we heal on that level, then what opens up for you is your soul potential. When you heal the memories on a soul level, you open up your soul gifts, your soul potential. Your soul has potential in it. It has gifts in it. It has such a bright light in it. And
absolutely,
those memories, those soul contracts that you came into this earth blocked that potential. And it opens up that potential. It opens up that light. And as you can now radiantly shine that light into the world and share that soul gifts to the world. So that is now when part of my program is helping you live on truth, which is the people pleasing, the need to overgive, overcare. All that is recovering from your codependency traits. Right?
Yeah.
And the second part of the part is aligning you to your highest purpose. And that's where I work with the soul. The soul work aligns you to your highest purpose. The purpose, you healing wounds on the soul level. So your soul came with a purpose. So now aligning you to that purpose your soul came to fulfill. And for me, once you fulfill that purpose and you step into it and you share it with the world, that is when you will step into your legacy work and leave that legacy that you're longing for. So that's part of my program, helping you to find your truth, live on truth and purpose, and fulfill your legacy work. And that's the means I use it to do it.
I love that. And I think that's so important, guys, is that you hear me say this all the time, and it's so true. We are more than moms. We're not just moms. We're not just caregivers. We're not just wives. We're human beings with ambitions. And even though we have had maybe to leave our careers to be a full-time stay-at-home mom to care for our sick spouses, because that's our situation, it doesn't mean that has to be the only thing that we do. Yes. I'm not saying everybody has to start a business like I have. Okay, everyone's different. But I still want to get you curious and thinking, guys, about how you can pursue something that's yours, because you still need something that's yours. Yes, you're home full time to take care of your spouse because they got sick. And yes, you're a stay-at-home mom so you can nurture your children. And as important and nurturing and important as those roles all are, it's not everything of who you are. So whether it's a hobby, whether it's volunteering, how can you align with your true self? What is your true self saying to you, even though you're in a challenging season because of what's happened with your family? That is not your fault. Things happen in life that are out of our control, and we do have to make choices. But I just want you to be clear on, because you've made a choice to be a stay-at-home mom and a spousal caregiver, it's going to be on you to still make sure that you make yourself a priority and you don't get lost in the role of being a stay-at-home mom and a spousal caregiver, and that you still nurture your passions and your dreams. That is something that I have definitely had to work on myself, because my identity was in my healthcare career for 15 years, coming home, not working outside the home anymore, not bringing home a consistent paycheck. There was trauma there for me that I had to deal with, and I'm still working on it. And I am thankful that I have this podcast and that I do have my business to be able to help serve and be ambitious and still have a career that aligns with my lifestyle that I have chosen now to be able to prioritize my family, but still have something that's mine. And there's nothing wrong with that. So it's going to look, like I said, it's supposed to be different for everybody. Not everyone is supposed to be an online entrepreneur like Miriam and I have. But is there a way that you could have a way that you can create an outlet for yourself in a creative outlet that's both kind
Yes,
of dual,
like
that's both
cooking,
self-care,
baking,
yeah, and that's
sewing,
yours. Yeah,
that's the
fulfilling in
art.
some way.
It's writing a book. It can be so many. It does not have to be. So my clients are not entrepreneurs that I'm guiding them. They are creative pursuits they're falling into. The art is coming alive. In some of them, they were not allowed to pursue their arts because it was told that with arts you won't be rich or whatever. So they gave it up to do business. So it can be now aligning them to that sole purpose of doing that art, doing that creative writing that they had pushed aside. So it's aligning them to that as well. So these the abundance blocks that you do, which is I can't do this because I won't make money. It depends on which abundance block is showing up for you. So all that is part of the program as well that you have to uncover as well. So it's not only entrepreneurship. You don't have to. It's not asking you to align to a higher purpose that is business.
Right.
It is, but using it as to create money, using your writing to create money. You've got to give value to the world and then open up to receive as well. Because that's where
Absolutely.
the part is when you're doing the abundance blocks of it, is healing them from that, showing them that, see, like say for my example, I had to heal so much in that case because of my dad never gave himself permission to receive because of his need to please and never gave himself to be successful. So I had to heal so much in that regard and giving myself permission, asking for the fee. So I've grown so much where it's okay to ask for the fee. It's okay to say no. It's okay to, when you have clients, build your boundaries. Let your clients know exactly. Let the people, let your spouse or whoever you giving this care, your caregiver to, what your boundaries are. Let them know this is what my boundaries, this is what I'm going to expect, this is not what. So you've got to, friends are going to come to you, they're going to say, I need you to do this for me, I need you to do that for me. You've got to say, this is how I work. This is what I would
Absolutely.
expect from you.
Yeah.
And that's how you build boundaries. So for example, one of another great part of my program or my healing myself is that even when you lose touch of your own feelings, because we are people pleasers, people pleasers are also natural helpers. We love to help. We are nurturers. Only nurturers are going to be given this caregiver role. One who loves to help, one who loves to care for others, the nurturer role. So what happens is that as you're given this role, so what happens, you got this, but you forget to, as I said, because you zipped up your emotions, you forgot to take care of yourself, you're giving so much of your help to others, that what happens is that you I'm just losing my train of thought here now. We were speaking about I'm just losing my train of thought. But what I wanted to say was, oh yes, it's the sensitivity. So for example, you end up, I feel it's very, very important to say this, because as a caregiver role, you're in someone's energy all the time. And because the person is in a grouchy mood sometimes because of day sicknesses or whatever, and if you are the sensitive person, it's going to impact you greatly. So for example, now when you close your energy and you can't feel, you have closed yourself and you've become so sensitive to others' emotions, what they feel. So when you're sensitive to energies and you instantly feel others and you start giving off I have to do this, and you get so stuck into helping them because you can feel their pain, you can feel their need, and it impacts you in such a way that you have to do it. So what happens is when you do heal yourself and you transform this, you learn. One of the best things I learned was learning I am responsible. Only I could do it when I got in touch that I have feelings, what my feelings are. I am responsible for my own feelings. And that spouse of yours, that person who needs your care, is responsible for his or her own feelings. And you put a light around them, you put a light around you. Keep it yours. You keep your feelings to you, I keep. And then from that space now, you can build your boundaries. You can build your boundaries and say no. But before, it was hard because you were clinging onto you. You can't pull yourself out of it. So one of the greatest, one of my greatest successes was learning when clients are clinging onto me, people are clinging onto me. You've got to help me because mine was that. You've got to help me. You've got to do for me. And before I would do it. What I had to see was you are your own. You've got to, although I love helping, you are responsible for your own feelings, your own outcomes, your
Yes.
own. I am.
Yes.
So we pull ourselves out of that struggle, and then we can say no to them. So you will get energetically, they will impact you. Oh, you've got to help me. And if you're sensitive to energies, it will impact you. It will pull your energy. It's called energy vampires. They will cling on you. They will lean on you. They will suck your energy out of you. But that's where you build your energetic boundaries and you learn to say no. So the no is not a physical no that we always have. Oh, she's asking me. We've got to learn to do it energetically as well. Where energetically we say no, no, no. They are not even aware that you're saying it, but you can feel their clinginess on you. They're pulling you. Come do for me. I'm sick. I need you. And you say, not now. No, no, no. And you get them out. So these are boundaries that you learn as you learn to stay true to yourselves.
Right. Absolutely.
You can't do it until you don't learn to say yes to you. How can you say no to someone else when you haven't learned to say yes to you?
That's so true. You have to say yes to yourself. Okay. And as we're winding down this interview, I want to just encourage you guys to remember that it's okay to say no. You need to give yourself boundaries. Okay. Whether that's a timeout, like I'm tapped out, I'm burned out, I need a break. I need to have, whether that's a physical break, you need to like actually take a nap and you need someone to watch the kids, sit with your spouse, do it. You need to have an outlet, a creative break where it's like, I just need to do something for fun. Give me 15 minutes to like set a timer. That's what I do with my daughter. I set my timer for 15 minutes. When I'm done knitting, you can have mom back. It's okay to set boundaries. And even if you're dealing with obviously a sick spouse, whether it's an aging parent, whether it's a sick spouse, whether it's a chronically ill child, sometimes you have to say no. And you have to say, listen, I'm going to take a break for a minute. I'm going to let you deal with your emotions and I'll come back. Because that's the other thing. Like I know with my journey, dealing with a spouse that is chronically ill, has had to leave his job, can't work as much, can't drive, has had a lot of independence taken away from him, which is heartbreaking. He is up. He's had to learn that it's up to him about how he deals with it. You know, like I'm here for him. I'm his best friend, his wife, and his caregiver, and I want him to be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. But part of that task comes with him saying yes to himself and choosing to have the mindset and to do the work and work on his own actions. Because, you know, at the end of the day, guys, you're responsible for your own words, actions, and beliefs. You are. It's not anyone else's. You know, you can't tell anyone, no, you can't make someone do anything that they don't want to do. And you certainly can't be responsible for what they do or say. Even if you're in a marriage, you know, you may have married the person, but you can't control their actions. At the end of the day, they're an individual. They're going to make their own choices, and it is not on you to be responsible for their actions. But as we wind down this interview, Miriam, where can we find more of you? If people are interested in learning more about your work, where can we find more of Miriam Safla?
Okay, so if you're feeling whatever I spoke about is, resonating with you, then I would first suggest you do, I offer a free breakthrough clarity call. So on that call, you will get a lot of breakthroughs, and it is quite a powerful session. So you'll even get used to the way I work. You will get used to my energy and how I work and so forth, and you will get a lot of breakthroughs, but also clarity if you're fit for the program and if you'll be interested in working and investing in my program. So that's, I would suggest as the pre-breakthrough clarity call. We will find all this, the link for the call and booking and everything on my website, which is magicallythrive.com. So she'll put it, you'll put it for them on
Of
the
course.
link.
Yeah, all the links to how you contact Miriam, her website, her socials, her email, it'll be in the description box below if you're watching this on Spotify, or Anchor or YouTube, wherever you're viewing this episode. All the details are below in the description box.
Yeah, that's
So
it. All my programs, more about my programs, everything is on my website. Clients, case studies, success stories, a lot are already on the website.
awesome. And as we wind down this call, as we end, what are 3 tips you would have to give our listeners if they're to start this journey? Let's keep it like maybe 1 sentence for each tip. And also, what is something that in your own journey that has just really resonated with you that you would like to leave as a little bit of encouragement for someone who's starting this inner work, deeper inner work?
Okay, so the one that's showing up is, if you're feeling stuck, then no. And you've tried so much of work on your own, and you've done so much of work, but you're still stuck, and you're not getting the success or the dream or the desire you wish for, then look into working with an Akashic record reader and find out the soul pattern, and then do the transformational work from that space. The other one is understand about your shadows. If shadow is a new word, just know that it is a decision that you made, decision that you made that is not serving you. It could be a vow, a decision, and it's just not serving you, and it's now a shadow part of you. So uncover, each and every one of us got those decisions. So uncover them and really do the work to integrate them, or work with a shadow coach for that. That's 2. And the last one is my favorite one, which is open that heart. Open it. Open the heart. The heart is where we've got a lot of make intention. I want to live from an open heart. I want to give from that heart. And it's closing it. You're just closing your own potential, your own light. And I understand grief is not an easy thing. I've had to deal with a lot of grief. And you've got to make peace with your grief and start living with an open heart. And what is the question? What inspires me?
What is something that we've talked about either in our conversation or in your journey of doing this deeper inner work that has just really stuck with you, that could be, again, like a 1 sentence answer that could be encouraging to our listeners for a little bit of hope?
In this conversation or in my life, I would say, I would say it is something is showing up about women and the need to, this is what is showing up, is that the woman, you see, it showed up also while we were talking, but then I had lost to share it. But something to this effect, it's showing up as where you have the woman that with the husband, but what we're forgetting, like see a caregiver, right? And you have the spouse and you have this person you have to care for, and you think you have to care for them, and then you forget about your true self, your true needs, and they can see everyone knows, they can see how you are feeling frustrated. You don't show it to them. You act strong, but you don't show it to them. And then they can see how frustrated you are, and it's just bringing them down. It's making them feel unhappy. It's making them feel it's the worst. What you've got to do is take care of yourself. Let him see, let her see. She's so happy. She's doing her nails. She's looking good. She's came home. She's taking care of herself. Let him or her see that you're doing what you love, because you think that they don't. But when they see it, now you're giving them permission to stop. And even in that, whatever state they're in, maybe they paralyzed from an accident or whatever, maybe it's just they can't, but they will find the strength and the talent that is in there, and they will start pursuing it.
Absolutely.
So you stay true to you, and they will see it. They are happy, and they will start staying true to themselves. And that's what I've seen a lot with my clients. They we always to their husbands and their children. And in every session we worked with, be true to your creative pursuits. Your husband and children will be true to their passions in life. You want you're so protective over your kids and your husband, but you're not realizing that protection is only strangling them and holding them back.
Right.
Let go of that control, let go of that need to keep them safe, let go of that need to fix and save them, and start following your creative pursuits, your passions in life, and see how they will start doing the same. So that was showing up was quite something to share that I needed to share in the end.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for this amazing interview, Miriam. I enjoyed having you on the Caregiver Coffee Chat podcast, and I wish you so much success in 2023. And guys, if you are in a position as a stay-at-home mom, as a spousal caregiver, with struggling with how to do it all and still have time for yourself, my brand new workshop Prompt will be coming out February 20th. And I will be teaching you how to be a prompt mom and a prompt caregiver in 2023, where I will be teaching you how to prepare for the unexpected, how to reach out for support, how to get organized around your home, how to manage your busy schedule, how to prioritize your self-care, mind, soul, and body, and how to tell your story in a powerful way to heal and inspire. And I want you to be able to be prompt and take action, because that's what the word prompt means. Prompt means to take action. I want you to be taking action in 2023 so you can be the mom, the caregiver, and the amazing human being that God designed you to be in 2023. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the Caregiver Coffee Chat podcast, and stay tuned for another episode next week. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much, and all the success to you. And it's just so awesome what you're doing as well.
Thank you.